Yes, how do you raise your hand?
You can use Shift 5, for example, but you can just say your name and question or something. That's merely decorative. Green, do you want to do the map part that comes now?
I'll take the later part. If you want to take it off the bat.
Alright, so digging into it, for those that have involved themselves in land navigation in real life or in other simulations, important to understand that ArmA uses a simplified map and grid system, right? So it's based on UTM projection, MGRS, military grid reference system, but there's no magnetic or true north difference that we have to worry about. We don't have to convert azimuths. There's no annual variation or shit like that. And the Earth in ArmA is flat, so there's no great circle distances to worry about, and it's only one map sheet, so everything is pretty simple compared to reality. So when we look at the ArmA map, and I think everybody will have used the map before, so you don't have to dig into this very long. If you press M, that'll bring up your map, obviously. And the ArmA map, just like any topographical map, provides us with some very important information on the location of stuff, right? Landmarks, infrastructure, water, land bodies, and the terrain contour, the topography of the terrain. So, purpose of the map is to visualize that area of the Earth with its features on the thing, and that's what we can use to navigate. So, some of the things you'll already mostly be familiar with are symbols on the map. So there's a variety of symbols that the ArmA map depicts, including, for example, churches. Can somebody mark a church in global? How would a church look like? Slow, gentlemen. Okay, I'll do it. Here, for example, in Cabinino, we have a church somebody did in Mogilevka. So those are there's various church symbols that in theory should portray various church architecture types, but I don't think they are. I think it's actually just the building type. We have other landmarks such as castles, right? Radio towers here, like the Green Mountain Radio Tower, the big one. We have gas stations, chimneys. Those are all these black landmark type of markings. Then obviously buildings are on the map. It's all pretty self-explanatory. One thing that we reference to particularly is the various road types, which you see here on the sign. And you'll probably have heard this before, people talking about MSR, ESR, and SR, or dirt track, something like that. In ArmA, this is all pretty straightforward. There's only 3 road types, and they are always clear how they will look in game. Obviously, that's different in reality. But when we talk about MSRs, we typically talk about the thick orange ones you see here, for example. When we talk about ASRs, alternate ancillary supply roads, we talk about those, right? And the dirt track, the simple routes, are just the black track outlined. Yeah, so we've talked about the symbols that we see here. The other important part of the map, obviously, are the terrain topographies, and that is visualized through contour lines on almost all topographical maps, right? So contour lines are basically a way to show the terrain relief and elevation on a map in a effective fashion. So basically, for those that have never worked with contour lines, you can imagine a contour line being a line, imaginary line on the ground. When you walk that line, you'll always be at the same elevation, right? Normally on a map, the contour lines are spaced at a fixed distance. In ArmA, this is obviously variable on the zoom level. If you zoom in and out, you will see on the right bottom the contour interval changing, right? Everybody sees that? So that is the distance at that zoom level between the contour lines. And contour lines are normally starting at 0, so at sea level, right? And with an index line on sea level, and then every 5th contour line is a so-called index line, and you'll see this here. The more red, thick ones are index lines, and the other ones are the intermediate contour lines. Does everybody see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So, let's see how well you understand this. If we go to... I'm just going to mark something. what elevation is that marker on in the center map? Roughly within like 10 meters.
374.
384.
Almost.
354.
354. More or less, right? So how do you find it out in ArmA? Basically, in reality, normally contour lines are labeled in the line, so it's easy to you just follow the line until you see the elevation marker, and that's you count it up and down. But in ArmA, that's unfortunately not possible, so we have to find the next spot elevation, right? What would be the ideal next, if you follow this, if I'm zoomed down, for example, now to 10 meters contour interval, right? I'm following that contour line, and I see the 363 elevation down on the southern part of that hill, right?
Yeah.
So what would be that intermediate line right around the 363 marker? What altitude would the elevation would that be?
390.
No, if it's I'm in 10 meter intervals, so the lower it's got to be lower one, right? It's the hilltop. 360 would be the intermediate line, and so our line is 350. So my marker is pretty much on 350 or maybe 351. I didn't place it exactly right, but that's neglectable altitude difference.
Question?
Yeah.
So each intermediate line is 5 meters, you said?
No, it depends on the zoom level, right? At the right bottom, if it says 10 meters, each of the lines is 10 meters, and every fifth line is then in thick. Eases counting.
Oh,
right?
I see. I see your bottom right corner, yep.
So if I'm at a 10 meter interval, then there is one at thick red one at 350, 300, 250, so on, right? So that it's a little harder to read them in. Oh, it's kind of too late now. I don't know where they are. So let's do another example just quickly here. At the more, so again, within 5 meters accuracy is good enough here. So we just use the 10 meter contour interval. It's very easy to figure out. What altitude is the marker on? Anybody?
350.
350. Because you see the 352 elevation marker. I'm at 10 meter contour interval. See the 352 marker. You see the 347. That's the index line. It can only be 350. Is anybody not following how we got there? Perfect. So once you have an understanding of the contour lines, you can actually visualize the terrain based on the relief in your head, right? So if we look, for example, the area of this marker, how would you describe that larger terrain feature?
Hill.
It's a mountain.
Very good. And so if I look here, is that a more flat or mountainous terrain?
It's like
Or flat. Flat.
Yeah.
Very flat, because the density of contour lines is very low, right? So there's little to no slope. And the more dense it gets, so let's look at, for example, this. If you zoom in a little closer here, how would you describe this?
Cliff.
Yeah, very steep cliff slope type of deal. So obviously, I don't have to explain what a valley is. Anybody know the difference between a spur and a draw? And I always confuse them myself, so. Anybody?
I think a spur is like a protruding part of a valley or mountain, and a draw is like the little trench. Well, I'm probably wrong.
That's correct. If you look here, we have the typical formation you see in mountains and valleys is here the spur, the protruding spur with the big blob markers, and the depressing. I'm probably describing this wrong, but I think everybody knows what I mean, right? So we now know how to find an elevation. We now can visualize the terrain. We know how slopes will look. We'll know how flat terrain will look. So one last thing what's the last thing we need on the map, obviously, is we need to have a way to actually reference to locations effectively, right? Because if, we can obviously say, it's in Starry Sobor, or it's there and there, but as soon as there's no named terrain feature, and you want to have things accurately, you're running into problems. So that's pretty much any map will feature some form of a reference system, and in the military maps, that is usually based on a UTM or military grid reference system, and that's the thing also used in ArmA. So as you see, we have the map divided into equally sized squares, and basically the system works as follows. Each square is then subdivided into 100 sub-squares, and thus we can reference the locations at various accuracy levels, if you will. So for the UTM system, the basic grid is 100,000, so 100 kilometers by 100 kilometers in dimension. On ArmA map, that's typically all within one map, and then that's the UTM base grid, and then we subdivide this 100 kilometer grid into 10 kilometer squares, right? So into 100 sub squares of 10 kilometers, and those are the 2-digit grids, right? So if I actually cannot see them on journals if I zoom out far enough. Some might, but you can actually see the thick lines, and there's your 10 kilometer grid square, right? So for example, 0, 0, or 0, 1, right? That's one grid square. Not really relevant for us. More relevant for us, the subdivision of that, the 1 kilometer grid squares, which you will see on the map right now, no matter what zoom level you're on. So those obviously are subdivision of the 10 kilometer grid square, and we reference by those with 4 digits. So the way you read the digits are from the horizontal and then the vertical axis, right? So let's take an example. Could somebody tell me the grid that marker is in?
0509.
Correct. This one?
0707.
Correct. Anybody not following how we got there?
Nope.
Okay, so obviously I didn't change the slide here, just to visualize this again. And again, we can subdivide our 1 kilometer grid square into 100 subparts of 100 meters by 100 meters. We get a 6-digit grid, right? If we subdivide that further, we get 10 meter squares, and we can get an 8-digit address for that. And if we want to be very accurate, you can divide it into another 100 subparts and have 1 meter boxes, which you might only really need for precision guided munitions and stuff, so not really relevant for today. So we will talk about getting grids practically, and especially more digit grids with the map tools later. First and foremost, though, another thing we need for navigating is a way to express direction, right? So we need a common way to express direction in order to be accurate. Most of you will be familiar with the most basic ones, right? The cardinal directions everybody will have hopefully heard: north, south, east, west. And probably everybody will have heard of the ordinal directions: northeast, southeast, southwest, northwest. Pretty self-explanatory. Some might have not heard the subdivisions of those, but they are pretty common. So north, northeast obviously means I'm going from north halfway to northeast, for example, or east, northeast means I'm going from east halfway to northeast, etc. But even that, if we're trying to navigate precisely, or we're trying to coordinate an aircraft or artillery precisely, then obviously we want to have even more precision in expressing the direction. So we typically use either what is very common also in the civilian world, the degrees. So we divide the circle into 360 parts and express the direction in degrees, or we use the even more accurate angular mill, subdivide the circle into 6,400 parts. So obviously we there have 17.78 times the precision of the degree, and this is very valuable when you talk about artillery and stuff like that. And also the mill has the beauty that it works very well with the metric system in terms of converting angles to distances or lengths at various distances, which we will talk about later as well. Keep in mind that there is multiple mills, so for example, the laser rangefinder actually features, for example, the Swedish and the Warsaw Pact mill, which you'll probably never need in ArmA, and also the geometrical mill. Any questions on directions here? Everybody familiar now understanding the basic units of direction, or how we can express direction in various units? Perfect. So how do we measure direction? Obviously there's various instruments, but the most important and most relevant one is obviously a compass. So unlike the real compass, the ArmA compass is super accurate and interference free, which is something that might change in ArmA 3 depending on how well that works. In ArmA 3 the compass is already kind of more swaying feel to it, right? If somebody have played ArmA 3 already, but there's actually a function, so we might see stuff like compass is being affected by metal objects in the vicinity and stuff like that. So in ArmA 2 right now, pretty simple. We press K, hold K, or double tap K to bring up the compass. And then we can shoot an azimuth onto any point or direction we want to shoot an azimuth to. And then there's three depictions of the double tap works too. There's 3 measurements of direction we find on there. The cardinal directions, as you see, northeast, southwest. And then we have the degrees, and on the outer ring we have the mils. Any questions on how to read the compass? Perfect. Let's shoot an azimuth to the left edge of that concrete dam to our northeast.
70,000 mils.
No. I'm measuring
60 degrees.
130
60
mils.
degrees is correct. 130 mils. So I have to,
mils.
you have to look, yeah. One second. Okay, so now we have shot an azimuth. An azimuth is defined as the horizontal angle measured clockwise from a north baseline. So basically, we take the compass and we measure the angle from 0 north, right, to whatever object here, the dam, right? So we measure the 60 degrees around. Sometimes might be referenced as bearing, right? So shoot a bearing, shoot an azimuth, same thing. Back azimuth. Why do we need that? Especially for artillery work, but also for just the basic navigation. You got to be able to find the opposite direction of a direction, right? And this is very easy. You just, if it's under half of the circle, so under 180 degrees, you add 180 degrees and you get the back azimuth. If it's over 180 degrees, so over half the circle, you subtract 180. So taking example azimuth here of 112 degrees, what do we have to do? Anybody?
Add 180.
Add 180 and we end up with 292. Works as well with mils, right? If the half of the 6,400 mils is 3,200, that's the direct south. And if we have over 3,200, we subtract 3,200. If it's under, we add. Questions? If that is a new concept, I would definitely write that formula, if you can even call it that, down, because that will be helpful. If there's no questions, we move on directly to the most excruciating part of the course right now, because they are unfortunately somewhat broken right nowadays, the map tools. The map tools allow us to plot on the map, measure distances, determine grid coordinates and directions between points on the map. Right, so they are quite multi-purpose, if that makes any sense. So if we press M again to get into the map, some of you who have used them before, a few months before, will know that they were very easy to left-click and drag around. Unfortunately, that doesn't work anymore. You can still drag them around. If we, on the very left bottom of your map should be a map tools. Everybody has the map tools before I keep on rambling. Anybody not having the map tools? Perfect. So we zoom into the crosshair on that arrow north of the compass rose. Everybody sees that? We zoom in closer, and then you should be able, with your left mouse, to grab and drag that around. Is everybody able to drag that around?
Yep.
Yep.
It's very, so basically we hold down the mouse, then you can zoom. So the way I do it is I zoom into that crosshair, I hold down my left mouse button until I can drag it around, and then I use the scroll wheel to zoom out again while keeping the left mouse button depressed. And then I can move it fairly alright across the map. I know this is pretty ridiculous, but unfortunately it hasn't been fixed yet. Another way to position...
I can't grab that. Is there a trick again?
Yeah, you have to zoom in extremely close into that round crosshair north of the compass rose and click in the center of that. Hold down the left mouse button. And you should be able to move it around.
Ah, got it.
And then while you're doing that, use the scroll wheel to zoom out again. And then you should be able to position it more or less as desired, but it's pretty ridiculous right now, as I said. When you hold down H and left click, you can actually center the compass rose. That's the more still usable part of the thing right now on a desired point. So let's actually try to measure a direction from a point to another point. So everybody sees the two markers I made?
Yep.
I hold down H, click on the southern mountaintop. Everybody able to position the compass rose on top of the mountaintop?
Yep.
Yep.
And now I hold down J, Juliet, and click on the other mountaintop, the northern mountaintop. And that should orient your panel around the compass rose. And now you should be able to read the direction from the southern to the northern point. Can anybody read it out?
054.
55 degrees.
94.
55 degrees.
Yeah, 54 degrees, I'd say, and 950 mils, right?
Mhm.
Good. What will be the back azimuth here?
240.
Yeah, it's a little less than that, right? So we have 55 degrees, let's say. We add 234, 235, yeah, if it's depending on how accurate. Very good. What else can we do? We can also measure the distance between the points if we want to, and this requires this retarded dragging around. So we have to drag around. Before you move it, what you see on the what should be now your right lower edge of the panel, you should see a scale that says 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Anybody not seeing that? Everybody has the scale, awesome. So what we'll try to do now is position the 0, so the right corner of the panel, on our northern point by dragging this around. And it's retardedly retarded right now. So it will take a significant amount of time, so I will only do this once.
So 11.
Yeah, 11 kilometers.
I'm not even there yet. And it's
Isn't it half? So
yeah, 1 second.
550.
I'm still trying to position myself.
It's 11 inches, right?
God damn it. There we go. Alright, so I'm measuring exactly 11 on the scale, right? So what you have to keep in mind, this is in hundreds of meters, and then we have to, because it's half the scale, we have to multiply it by 2, right? So I end up with 2,200 meters.
So yeah.
And if I just take my point finger and tip whatever smallest finger and lay that horizontally onto the 2.2 kilometers roughly and put it around, that makes sense. So that should be accurate. This is obviously very painful. What I recommend to do right now, if you need to measure direction on the map, is use a real-life ruler. Zoom in until the scale matches or makes sense. For example, like you have 10 centimeters in 1 kilometer or 20 centimeters in 1 kilometer, stuff like that. And with a little brain work, you can fairly quickly measure distances compared to right now with the map tools being a total pain in the ass. One thing we can also do with the map tools is draw. And for that, if you go out of the map again, you'll see the keys. On the American keyboard, it's the open square bracket to start, and it's the closed square bracket to stop drawing. For example, I know we have some German here, that'll not work. I think on the German keyboard you have to manually set those keys in Escape Ace settings, and then at the, I think, very bottom under keys, there should be the map tools. Or not very bottom, actually. Where's that shit?
Oh, wait,
almost very bottom. So we hold down the square bracket, click, and it should create a black dot on the desired point. And then you hold down the close bracket, click on a point, and it should create a straight line between the points. You can also free draw by holding down the open square bracket and holding down the button and drawing around. You can draw shit.
What keys do you recommend on German keyboard?
I am using the null SZ, null to start draw, SZ for ending draw.
Question.
You can, yeah.
When you draw, does it appear for every, like say if you draw while you're global, will it appear
No,
for everyone?
it is always just on your map, but the awesome part is once you have drawn it, somebody can interact with you and you can click copy map and you can copy somebody else's map onto yours. So you interact with your buddy, say copy map. So this is a very useful, later in the exercise, I recommend, or I highly recommend, that you draw your course. On one of you guys draws the course, the other one gets the grids. And then you copy each other's map, so you have it both. That's very useful.
How would you
There's-
delete the line again?
You should be able to click on it so that it becomes an outline. And then you have to have the delete button. Again, on the German keyboard, I had to set that manually. I set that on the accent aigu, right side of the SZ. So again, you click on it. It should become thicker outlined. That might not always work. You have to click multiple times often. You press the delete button, it should be gone. You can also... how was that change color? Yeah, you hold down the start line button and click multiply to change the color. And I think that's pretty much all the functions. So I'm gonna try to move forward here, getting low on time. So the thing that still also is kind of pain in the ass-ish, but works, is the grid finder. So we've been able to find 1 kilometer grid squares, right? But we want to get more accurate. We want to be able to accurately pin the 100 meter and even the roughly the 10 meter subdivisions to get somewhere precisely, or to get artillery on target, or aircraft or whatever, or to make sure that your platoon leader knows where you're at. So the way we do this is, we have a, let's say we have a point on the map we want to get the grid for, right? Let's get, try to get the grid coordinates for this point here in the northern part of the map. What we have to do is, we hold down H, click roughly southwest of the marker. Let's actually click on, click on the town of Nazzedino. Hold on H, click on the town of Nazzedino. Down here. This should already place your grid finder very close to the point, so that we don't have to do a lot of dragging around. If you go out of the map again now, and reference the screenshot here, you'll see what when I talk about the grid finder. That is the middle scale, the 1 to 50,000 scale. So not the small one, but not the big one on the outer edge, but the middle one. Everybody sees that, what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the middle.
Yeah.
So now we take the right tip corner of this and try to place it on the point, as in the image here. So I got this roughly, and now I have to read the grid. So can somebody already figure out the 1 kilometer grid our point is in?
0718
What? Wait. The 1 kilometer grid.
0504.
I'm looking at the point up here, right? This point.
0708.
0708, correct. Everybody following us so far?
Yep.
Okay, so now we have to figure out the subdivision of that. We already have it placed. So for me, the line of the 07 intersects shortly before the 2. Everybody else see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we are between 1 and 2, so we are in the 1. So our 6th digit becomes 071. And now we have to do the vertical axis, and there it intersects shortly of the 3. Everybody see that?
Yep.
So now
Yep.
I say that's the 2. So 071082. Everybody following me so far?
Not really.
Okay, you have the...
I got the 6th digit, and I just don't know how you get the 8.
Wait, we just had a 6th digit.
Yeah.
So you're not following me?
No, because on the map, isn't it? That the 8-digit grid.
No, we just figured out the 4-digit grid, right? 0708. You got that so far.
Yeah, I got that so far.
And now we place the grid finder on the point so that and the middle grid finder right tip, as here on the presentation screen, is on the point, like on the yellow star.
Yep, I have
Yellow,
that.
pink star. You seeing that?
Mhm.
And now, for me, the 07 easting, the vertical line, 07, also called eastings, intersects in front of the 2. You see that?
Oh yeah, and that's it.
So we are in the 1 grid. The 08 northing intersects before the 3, right? So the 3 is not named, it's between 2 and 4, if you have basic numbers down. So it's after the 2, so it's in the 2 grid. So my grid is 071, 082. Follow me?
Yep.
So now we could even go, so now we have the 100 meter grid square figured out. We might want to get it more accurate. So I can already, by guesstimating, give a rough 10 meter grid square, and I can say it's 0719er and 0829er, right? So or you could also go with 8, right? But it intersects shortly off the 2, so I'd go with 9 and 9 actually, or 8 and 8. You can go more accurate, take out a ruler, zoom in on 10 centimeters, and make it more accurate. We also have, I think, a working 8-digit grid divider, but you have to multiply that again. It's on the left part, and moving this around right now is an absolute pain in the ass. So I will not even attempt that. Everybody get how I estimated the 8-digit grid, though?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So, do you want to take the NAF techniques part, Green Demon? Okay, take that as no. So now we've figured out how to use these basic equipment parts. Now we'll talk about some navigation techniques. So techniques are the basic, super basic, like procedures to establish your own position of other objects, stuff like that. So the first, most important one is the so-called resection, right? In order to succeed in land navigation, you need to always know where you are. Sometimes you might lose that awareness, or you end up jumping out of an aircraft in an area you're not familiar with and you don't know where you are. And one of the effective means to locate yourself is the so-called resection, which requires you to have already identified roughly where you are in the world on your map, right? Because you need to be able to identify at least 2 reference features, 2 reference point terrain features that you can reference your location of. So you already need to know, okay, I'm somewhere between Novi Sobor and Stary Sobor. That's what you know, right? And I see the water tower in Stary Sobor. It's a water tower symbol. And I see the church in Novi Sobor. So what I can do is I shoot an azimuth to the water tower and shoot an azimuth to the church. And then I calculate the back azimuth, and I draw the back azimuth from the respective reference point, and where they intersect should be my location. Does this make sense?
Yep.
Yep.
We will test this right now. Let's go to the flag and teleport to Site 1 using the scroll wheel menu. So, everybody here, I hope? Actually, should turn on my, thingy. Yeah, everybody's here. No, we're not everybody here. Green Demon and Verox aren't here, but they're only the instructors. So now we are in the middle of nowhere. I recommend you press Escape, Ace Settings, and crank up your view distance as far as your computer allows. Recommend at least 3 or 4 kilometers. And as you already, when you look around, you'll already see, I can see a super awesome castle to our east-southeast. I can see a huge fucking radio tower to our south. I see a church to our west. I see a town with chimneys to our north. There's a little hill to our northeast. Has anybody already figured out what rough area on the map we're on? There's not so many of those big radio towers, and it's to our south.
Northeast of Green Mountain?
We're north of Green Mountain, exactly. That's the
North.
Green Mountain radio tower. So we're somewhere north, and looking at the map closer, I see there's a town called Pustoshka with a church that is pretty much to our west. The castle could be one of the castles to the far east here, and that little mountaintop is actually Hill 340. Everybody see that where we are? The area of the triangle here. Vybor, the town to our north with a chimney. So far, everybody following us where we roughly are?
Can you give us a approximation on the map, like a marker?
03. I'm giving you the hint. We are in the 03071 kilometer grid square. See it?
Yep.
Right. So now we want to do the recession to figure out more accuracy where we are, because we want to get the helicopter to land right here, or we want to, what we are injured. We want to get the medevac right here. So what terrain features would be good for a resection?
The radio tower.
The radio tower. You can use the church. You can use... I'll leave that up to you. Basically, you need at least 2, but you can use as many as you want to in order to increase accuracy, right? So to go down the procedure again, what do we have to do? We first have to shoot the azimuth to each terrain feature, right? So I take out the compass. I align the aiming needle of the compass with the object here, the radio tower, and I shoot an azimuth. What is your azimuth to the radio tower? Anybody?
175.
175. So what's the back azimuth?
355.
355. So there we have our first azimuth that we need to draw from the Green Mountain, right? So let's mark Green Mountain here for reference. That's Green Mountain, right? That's the radio tower. So now we place the compass with H on Green Mountain and press J on the compass needle where we have 355, right? And that orients it right on 355. Make sure you are on 355, not 350 or 360, right? So the first red tick left of the north. Everybody following so far?
Yep.
So now we press the start line key on the center of the mountaintop, or the center of the compass rose right now, till the black dot appears. And then we press to the tip of the spare here to end the draw, and we know that we're not north of Vybor, so somewhere in this area our line should be drawn. Now we should have a line from Green Mountain on azimuth 355. For me, it goes roughly through the 300 elevation marker at that T intersection. Everybody sees that? Okay, now we need to draw from a second terrain feature. Which one should we use?
The castle.
No. Do you know which castle that is, though?
Yeah, it's
I'm not even certain myself. I'd rather go with the church because I know that it's that church.
The castle.
Let's do the church, though. You can use the castle to verify if you pick the right castle, but I know that church is that one over there. So shooting an azimuth to the church, I measure about 302 degrees. So what do we have to do? 302 degrees, anybody?
Minus 180. 122.
122, exactly. So the same drill. You can also right now, if you're still focused on the church with your compass and you press M, you can use your vanilla compass, double click to enlarge that, and place the left edge of the compass on the church, and then draw the line with that ruler, if you will, right? You don't even have to do the calculating part. Does everybody follow me with that trick? Take that as yes. I draw the line. And now I have an intersection. Does everybody have a resection now where the lines intersect?
Yeah.
No, I'm
not yet.
drawing the line.
You can do it quicker with the vanilla compass trick. So you use the compass. We shoot the azimuth to the church, and without moving your head, right? You press M, and then the compass should be on that exact azimuth on the map. You can zoom out. You double click.
But I cannot draw the line.
Did you set the keys? You have the German keyboard, right?
Yes. No, I set the lines.
You had the line?
Yeah, I set the keys, but how do I draw a line?
Oh, you have to click the start you have to press the start line button. So I have it on the 0, right? I hold that and
I
left
get a
click.
blue dot when I do
Yeah,
that, nothing
and
else.
that's perfect. That's what you have to do. You put that dot on the church, right?
Actually, it's the tower, but yeah.
Okay, you put it on the tower, and now along the line, the edge of your compass, you want to draw the line. So at the where it ends again, you press the end line key. Well, hold that down and press left. Better to say. So hold down the key, press left, and you should draw a straight line between the 2 points you clicked. Does it work?
Yeah, I got the intersection.
Yeah, it's only the German guy that has the problems.
Yeah, it works.
Okay, so you know how to proceed from here.
Yes, thanks.
So, just to quickly verify where we are, try to get an 8-digit grid on your resected position.
Can I give one?
Yeah.
Roughly 03580725.
That's pretty far off, but roughly in the area. Yeah.
Can you
I
tell
got
again what
0355
chimney in the north is?
0758.
Say again, what do you want to have told again?
There was visual reference to the north. I guess it was a chimney or something.
In Vibor is a chimney. If you look to your roughly 20 degrees, I use the church in the west. You see you're fairly close.
I have a 03520758.
Yeah, you guys are all within 100 meters. But I think most. Right, so it's within 0, I can say it's within 035, 075. When I put it, I'm pretty much within 5 meters, less than 5 meters of my position. But that's good enough, right, for most purposes. So I'll
Church
mark...
to the west, where would that be?
You don't see the church to our west-northwest? Like very close.
You can just see the
church.
top.
And see the church?
No, I don't see it.
What's
Got
your
a
view
gold
distance?
ball at the top.
300 degrees for me. You don't see it?
It's
Use
just
double tap numpad to zoom
Oh
out.
yeah, I see it. Now. And where would that be on the map?
Well, what do you think?
You said something about Pistoshka or something?
Yeah. I mean, you have to figure out the church is on your west, so you need to be on the east, right? So look for a town that's where you could be like in an very open area, north of Green Mountain, where a church is to the west. There
Yeah, I
can only
just
be
know
that one town.
that the church I'm looking at to the west is the one in Pistoshka.
Yeah, that's affirmative.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay, I'll show you where I ended up with just drawing this. That little black dot, and I think according to my admin tools, and they are pretty cluttered because we're all in one position. This little black dot is the center of our polk here, so that was pretty accurate.
Fuck, I did it wrong.
As long as we get within 100 meters,
what's
it's
the-
okay, right?
What's the
More or
back
less, so.
azimuth of 300?
Well, how do you get there? How do you get the back
Uh,
azimuth?
Subtract
And
180.
what would that be?
180? Oh, okay, yeah. So
So 300 minus 180?
120.
120, correct. If in doubt, use a calculator, right? I mean, I sometimes do that myself. I'm not good at calculation. Yep.
How do you delete the lines that you've drawn?
You click on it until it becomes an outline, and then you press the delete line key.
Which is
Is there a special key
backslash
for
on
it?
an English keyboard.
Yeah.
What key is it?
Backslash.
Sorry.
So what would be...
it's right
the
next to the
approximate
square brackets.
So everybody has resected the position now?
Yep.
No,
Where is it hanging?
it's again not drawing the line.
But you've set the the keys for start and end, right? You've set
Oh, I
the
hate
keys.
to keep the key pressed, right?
You press the start. You hold down, gedrückt halten, the start line key, and while you hold it down, you press the left mouse button on the point you want to start the drawing.
Okay. The while
You should
held it
place
down
place
part was
place
the
a
one I
dot.
missed.
Okay.
Okay.
You
I got
place
the
the dot.
intersection.
Okay. So, is it in the vicinity of the little black dot I made?
It's right 1 millimeter south of it.
Perfect. So let's briefly get the grid here again. Some people already said it. So I placed my grid finder on it. We are in the 0307 grid, right?
Yeah.
Kilometer grid. My line intersects short of the 6, so we are within the 035. Other intersects short of the 6 as well, so we are on the 075. Then the line intersects shortly of the 6, so I would say it's about 7 to 8. 7, I'd go with 7. And I haven't placed it super accurately. And down there at the 5-3, I would say. And the little, I have a very accurate GPS reading. That little black dot here is at 0359 or 0754. So I'm within 10 to 20 meters off the exact position, definitely. And that is good enough for most purposes. Did anybody not follow how we got there? Okay, where are we on the timeline? Oh god, it's already 1 hour in. We will go to the flag now and teleport to the site, next site, but I'm not sure if we're doing this. That's again Barox and Green Demon that are not here. Alright, anybody already have an idea where we are on the map?
Northeast side.
Yeah, there's a mountain. Well, there's a gas tour northwest, 350.
Mountain Veresnik, Hill 340. I think we're slightly right of that, to the east of it.
No. Okay, we have this water tower to our, as somebody pointed out, to our, what is it,
Northwest,
320-ish. Then we have a road that goes pretty much down our view, right, northwest bound. We have a little town here in the ditch to our west that you can barely see if you stand up. So I'm going to give you the hint. If you look towards the towns of Gorka, Polana, Hill 2, 9, or 5, that area. Anybody see that line?
2, 9, or 5, you said?
Yeah, look at the town of Polana on the eastern coast, short of the eastern coast, 2 miles in the terrain. I figured out 1009 would put us south of Dubrovka, right? That can't be right, because if the water tower up there is the Gorka water tower, then we got to be southeast of Gorka. And if Polana is the town in that ditch to our west, which you can see on the map, it's in a valley, it's like in a little ditch. If that's the town of Polana close to us, we got to be somewhere southeast of Polana. And if you can already figure out the terrain, we can see we're on this little hilltop, right? So now you would only have to do the resection to really accurately pinpoint where on the hilltop are we exactly, right? Everybody would know how to proceed now, knowing the water tower, knowing the hilltops here, the town, how to get the resection.
What's the symbol for the water tower?
It's like a, let me mark it.
It's a circle
This
with a
thing here.
line on the bottom.
Alright.
In order to speed things up, I would skip this, and you guys will have enough resection practice in the practical part. So let's teleport back to camp using the flag.
I get the little black thing up where I can read the mils and degrees precisely, but can I switch that somehow?
I don't know what you mean.
I
Switch
think it was the ace
I
zoom in
can
thing.
hardly read the cardinal directions on my compass.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you can only set that in the ace clippy when restart, and you need to restart the game in order to do that.
Copy, thanks.
Okay, any fundamental questions to the resection before I move on?
Man, 50 meters.
No, perfect. So I'll go to the next one, the modified resection, which is basically the resection using a linear terrain feature. So obviously, we're traveling down a road in our Humvee, and we don't know where we are anymore on the road, but we have that huge ass mosque that we can use as a reference point. Or in this case, we're driving on this forest road. There's this hilltop we identify on the map, and we want to know exactly where we are on the road. We only need one reference point because we already know we're on this road, right? So we shoot an azimuth to the hilltop, calculate the back azimuth, draw the back azimuth, and where it intersects the road, that's where we are on the road. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Perfect. The intersection. Intersection is basically the other way around. We're trying to locate an object, an unknown point in the terrain. And we can do that if we have two known positions from which we can shoot an azimuth to the object. We can, where they intersect, we know that's where the object is, right? Better to say. This will be only fairly rarely useful in ArmA in most missions because either you have to go on the two positions yourself, right? Or you have to have two units. So for example, your first squad is on the hill, your second squad is on that. Or you have two FOs that are on these OPs. You call the other guy up, what's your azimuth to that tank? He gives it to you, then you draw it. But by that time, the tank will already have moved, right? But for example, for stuff that is very far away, you know, your aircraft crash site in the forest 5 kilometers away, you might be able to pinpoint the location more accurately. But again, very rarely useful, just so you have that. Polar coordinates. More useful way to locate stuff is combining azimuth, so combining direction and distance. So if we have a way to establish the distance, the range to the object, to the target, then we can draw shit on the map by shooting the azimuth, drawing the azimuth, and measuring the distance on the azimuth that we estimated or measured, determined, and then we have the object. Does everybody get that basic idea, polar coordinates?
Yep.
Yep.
So there's one problem though, right? Which is the part that we cannot easily do. Finding the distance, exactly. So there's various methods we can use to determine range, right? You can obviously, if you're very good and very familiar with ArmA, especially because it's different to reality, right? In estimating range, you can just estimate it. One common method to estimate better is using the football field, the soccer field measurement estimation method, and you just mentally subdivide the range towards the target into football fields and say, all right, that's 5 football fields. You can use whatever is comfortable for you on the estimating part because that's really just estimating. There's obviously tools that allow us to be more accurate though. Most accurate probably will be the laser rangefinder, with which you can shoot a laser beam, measure the time it traveled, and calculate that it's all internally done, right? Calculate the distance. Of course, if we have both things located on the map, we can obviously also measure on the map. That doesn't work with the polar coordinate example we just had. Sometimes you might be able to use flash to bang by knowing that the sound travels around, I think, 330 meters in the standard meters per second in the standard atmosphere, and you measure the time it took from an explosion to the sound for the sound to reach you. Again, though, fairly rarely usable. More applicable is the mill reticle, using the mill relation formula on a binocular, for example. Beautifully, all the binoculars in ArmA are the same, so they all use the same mill reticle. If you press B, should bring up your binos, and what you see on the bino reticle is numbers vertically and horizontally, and these are in tens of mils. So the 1 is 10 mils, the 5 is 50 mils. Everybody got that? Yeah. We already know what mils are, right? How can we calculate them with them? If we know the size of an object here, for example, we know this UAZ is 1.80 meters, so 180 centimeters from side to side. We multiply that by 1,000, so we get 1,800, right? And divide that by the mils we measured. So in this case, how many mils on the slide?
10.
10. So we would end up with
180 meters.
180 meters. Perfect. Let's actually try that. Let's go to the flag and teleport to side 2.
Is there a scale, by the way, for the vehicles that we can reference?
I was always thinking about doing a reference document for all the ArmA vehicles, but I haven't gotten around to it. One good thing for cars is generally, especially in ArmA, they're about 1.8 meters from wheel to wheel. Humans in ArmA are universally, I think, 1.75 meters, 1.8, something like that.
6 o'clock.
And so they're, because there's no like Everybody's the same height, right?
Well, what about tanks? That's like 2.7.
Yeah, it really depends on the tank. I think the typical, for example, the typical BMP and so on commander sight reticle has 2.7 meters for, I think it's the typical NATO tank. So I would, but again, if you want to have it accurately, you look it up. I think I'm gonna, if I find the motivation, I'll do like a reference sheet. Anyway, you can obviously look that up on the internet yourself, right? I mean. So let's take this example here. Everybody sees the car down there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get the distance from our position to the car. So what do?
Size times 1,000 divided by mils.
Exactly. So let's assume the 1.8 meters wheel to wheel. What do you measure for from wheel to wheel horizontally?
4 mils, which means 450 meters.
450 meters. Well calculated. Everybody got how he got there?
He said the wheel to wheel is the width. We're measuring the width as well.
We're measuring the width. You're measuring 4 mils from wheel to wheel. Do you see how we get 4 mils?
Yeah, I see it.
So we multiply first 1.8 meters times 1,000 is again 1,800, and we have 4 mils. So we divide it by 4.
Rear 50 meters.
Okay. Oh, got it.
I'm actually using a calculator. End up with 452. So yeah, let's verify that. Everybody go to the crate up here and pick up a fucking I'm sorry. Excuse my French. Let's pick up a dagger as well, but also pick up a Vector 21B Knight and 1 battery. Drop the other batteries back again so everybody gets a battery. Should be enough though.
Take what?
A Vector 21B Knight, the laser rangefinder, plus a 2C R5 battery.
Copy.
And a DAGR, the Defense Advanced GPS Receiver, the dagger. And I'm stuck into the crate.
ArmA decided to give me all the batteries.
Yeah, drop some back so that there's enough for the others. But I think everybody has one now. If you don't have a battery, shout it now. Perfect. Let's use the vector. So we select the vector with the scroll wheel. Should bring it up. We right-click to zoom in, then we press R to load the battery, and it should say battery loaded, and the direction should already appear. So now all we have to do is left-click onto the rear of the vehicle to put the laser on that, and I read 455.
Pretty close.
Yep.
Pretty close for what we estimated. I mean, obviously, I knew that it was going to be in that ballpark. So we also shot the azimuth here. It's very nice, and you can actually switch to various azimuth units by holding Alt and pressing R. Should switch to 6,400, so that's the NATO mil. And then if you press further, it'll go to 6,000, which is the Warsaw Pact mil, 6,300, which is the Swedish mil, and 6,283, which is the geometrical correct mil. And you only need, if you then go back, you go back to 360, right? So you only need 360 degrees and the NATO mil in most cases, unless we are going to get Warsaw Soviet artillery or something that is realistically modeled. We might be, if I would be able to do it. So now we know how to shoot an azimuth and get the distance with the LRF.
Can you say again the what comes after degrees with Alt R?
So after degrees 6,400 is the NATO mil that we should know from earlier, right? 6,400. And then after that, that's just bonus knowledge, is the Warsaw Pact mil, the Swedish mil, and the geometrical, how it should be really a mil.
Copy.
I don't know. So, the other tool we just picked up, the so-called Dagger, Defense Advanced GPS Receiver. In ArmA, it's a very simplified GPS receiver that is still very powerful, though. So if you press the home button, or +1 on the German keyboard, it should bring up the Dagger display on your right bottom. And here for me, I'm reading 03724144480. So obviously you can read an exact 10-digit grid of your current pause. I also get a speed indication. I get an elevation indication, I get a track indication, and I get a time indication. So that's very useful to locate yourself, right? But we can also do more awesome stuff with it. Yeah?
How would I bring that up?
Pause 1 or home.
Okay.
Got it?
Got it.
So to actually interact with it, we press Shift Home, or pause 1, and then we actually bring the full thing up. With the up and down arrows, we can go into the various menus. We were just in the data view. One thing you can do is under Options. Let's go to the bottom Options. And I misclicked. 1 second. So you go down to the bottom Options, and there you can set the direction, degrees, and mils. Everybody see that?
How do you get in there again?
Very useful. Shift Home.
Alright.
And how do I select options?
With the Help Select key. I'm sorry. The BRT menu key should bring you one menu back. I don't think the other buttons have any function. So we go back to the main menu now, and we go to the Connect to, and then it should allow you to connect to the Vector 21. And then it should say Connecting, Vector Connected. And now when you close the dagger, we bring up the vector again. We put the battery back in. We laze our vehicle. Should get a ranged reading for 455 again.
The dagger just comes back up when I try and close it.
Press escape. Doesn't that work?
Yeah, I was pressing Shift Home.
Right, so we laze the vehicle again with the vector connected, right? I get a range reading again, so get out of the vector by right-clicking, and I press the home button. And now the display has changed a little bit. We still have a 10-digit grid, right? But now it says range and elevation. Does everybody see that?
Yeah.
Range, elevation, bearing, and the time. And now, obviously, the range is from us to the target, but something's wrong here, right? Or something's different. Anybody notice it?
Yeah, 55.
Yeah.
50 meters more.
Yeah, and that is due to that is because we earlier measured the distance from the laser rangefinder to the vehicle, right? And the GPS actually calculates the map, the ground distance, right? So the on the map distance from us, which is obviously more because we did the slant range, and now this is the so-called, I forgot the term, but I think everybody gets what I mean, right? So earlier we measured from laser rangefinder to vehicle, and this measures from us being on the same altitude as the vehicle, or the other way around. So Pythagoras, right? Basic math bullshit. The time obviously is the time when we shot that laser. Elevation is the elevation of the vehicle, and the bearing is the direction, our azimuth to the thing. So that concludes the precision navigation part. Is there any questions here?
How do we disconnect the dagger?
You go back into the Shift Home, and you select the data view. It should say acquiring data, position acquired. And you go back into the display function, and it should say speed and track again. You got to be very careful with checking what you're currently looking at, because let's say we were trying to call an artillery on this baby down there, and we use the wrong display, then we will be fucked, right?
Yeah, the one thing that I normally do is I pull up the dagger, and if the numbers move as I move, that means it's on my grid.
No, you can, yeah, that works. Or you can just see if it says speed and track, that's your that's yourself, right?
Yeah.
That's a way to verify too, though.
So
is there any questions?
Yeah. Where did I connect to, or what did I connect to when I selected Vector 21?
The vector. The laser rangefinder you're using.
Oh, okay. And how do I disconnect again?
Shift Home, Data View. You gotta be out of the rangefinder, right, to do that.
Okay. And actually the slant range should be more than the map range, right? Why is the slant range less?
The slant range should be more than the map range. That's actually true. Wait a minute. Is that true? It should be true, yeah.
It is more, isn't it?
Yeah, it's by 55 meters more.
Yeah.
I think it's, yeah, I said it the other way around then, yeah.
Okay,
which makes no sense, though, yeah.
Yeah, right, it doesn't make sense.
Why does the vector just measure the actual range to 500 if we're that distance from it? Why would it measure the map range?
Yeah, that makes no sense.
The vector
Then I
should
think about
measure,
it.
Yeah.
Because the vector is a direct path there, and
yeah, but he is right. It should be the longer distance.
yeah, using the vector is the shorter distance, and using the land is the longer distance.
The dagger has the elevation of the points though, so it probably uses that calculation. The vector might just not be real, so it just does your straight GPS.
That might be. Which should be the other way around, though, as we all understand, right? Yeah, I don't know. I'd never thought about that in detail.
Okay, copy.
Although I think last course the same question was raised and I didn't have an answer, so I should have verified this in the meantime, but I didn't. Anyway, we will not need the precision navigation equipment for the later part of this course, but this is just so that you have had hands on it, and if you get into a Forward Observer course, JTech course, you don't stare at the dagger or the vector and say what the else is. Let's go back to the camp. Hello.
Is my mic working okay, or can...
Works well for me, yeah. Should we do a bio break now, gentlemen? I know we're already like 1.5 hours in, although we started like a little late. So we will, there will be another 5 minutes maximum of theory, and then we will do the practical part. The large exercise, better to say. Hope there was some practice.
By the way, do you have these PowerPoints posted somewhere, like a Dropbox?
I can give you a Google Doc link later if that helps, but it has all the notes to it as well. 1 second.
Yeah, that'd be great after the course.
Right, so I'm just going to do that, Green Demon, if you don't want to do it. So navigation methods. So now we have learned how to locate ourselves. We can locate other objects. We can get ranges. We can all this fancy techniques and equipment usage.
Meters.
But we still haven't talked about how we get from A to B effectively, right? Basically, there's 2 main methods by which we can navigate, right? Moving by terrain association and moving by dead reckoning, and even better, combining the 2 of them. So when we're planning a march with our company, or if we're doing our own navigation through the woods because we're hiking through the woods, ideally you should plan where you move, right? So that you already know, I'm going from there to there to there, and there's where I want to end up. So typically you have a beginning and end, right, from A to B, and you got to mark a route in between. So when you do that, by the way, what you see here on the map are the NATO movement control measures, right? So start point where we start, where the marching column comes under the command of the commander and begins the march in the commanded order of march, right? They move through the SP. Then we move along checkpoints, typically where you also call in and say, you know, we're passing through checkpoint. And at some point you will go to a release point where, you know, your platoon disconnects from the company march, goes to its support by fire position, whatnot. So when we plan this, we want to place our checkpoints, our waypoints, also often called, at positions where there is a terrain feature, or where there is a attack point where we can say, all right, the checkpoint is on the height of that rail. Like when we march on a road, that's pretty straightforward, right? We put the checkpoints at intersections where we have to make turns as well, or on prominent buildings that we pass, stuff like that, a bridge. And when we go through the natural terrain, we might have to use stuff like where we break through the tree line, where we hit rock formation, shit like that. So once we have planned our route, we've placed our waypoints, better to say our checkpoints. You want to get the direction and the distance between the points, right? So, you know, we'll be traveling from our spawn location, from a start point, whatever, on 063 to our checkpoint 1 for 500 meters. We will be at checkpoint 1. Then we travel 330 degrees for 1.1 kilometers. We'll be at checkpoint 2, and then we travel in 065 for 600 meters, and we'll be at our release point. And this allows you, taking that distance and direction, allows you to do both terrain association and reckoning. If we just move by terrain association, I'd say, all right, we move until that leaf tree, the deciduous tree, is on our left, and the coniferous tree is on our right. Obviously, this is not good terrain features. So in this case, you already want to do that reckoning. So when we do that reckoning, we solely use the direction and distance from one point to another, and we put that on the map, and then we track our progress, if you will, on that azimuth until we're there. So even if we're blind, right, we can say I'm walking 500 meters on that direction, and then I'm there, I turn around at 330 and move 1.1 kilometers, and then I should end up in CP2, even without having never verified where I am at all. If you do that accurately, if you can do that accurately, you'll end up where you planned. If you don't, the errors you'll make at the beginning will translate to the end, right? So in ArmA, this is fairly simple in terms of, I mean, tracking the direction is super simple in ArmA because we can just constantly watch our compass, and it's always accurate and static, doesn't sway whatsoever. Keeping track of our distance is also pretty simple because the ArmA human generally walks at the exact same pace if you're walking on even terrain, right? Obviously you have to take into account when you're crossing hills and shit. But when you walk 100 meters per minute, and when you jog 303 meters per minute, which you can just take as 300 meters. And that are your pace counts, if you will. In reality, you would measure how many steps am I taking to travel 100 meters, and then you count your steps, right? Which works very well in reality. In ArmA, that doesn't work. Obviously, if you're traveling with vehicles, you should have a odometer, vehicle speed indicator. Aircraft will have an airspeed indicator. All those methods translate well to other means of transport as well. So this is a method you'll have to use later during the exercise. So make sure you understand, how do I plan from point to point. You know how to draw lines with the map tools. You know how to put points down with the general markers. You know how to measure distances. Use the ruler or use the map tools. Doesn't matter. You know that what I would really write down is the dead reckoning pace counts here, and then you're good. I'll briefly. I think we'll jump over the tactical considerations because we're already 1.5 hours almost in, and I don't want to get you guys longer than 2 hours distracted from life. So unless somebody insists on tactical considerations, I would scratch that. I'll have it here for reading later, and also if you want to have explanation on it, I will be able to provide that. Any questions on dead reckoning and moving by terrain association? I didn't really go into detail on terrain association, but I think everybody gets the idea. We move in by using prominent terrain features, referencing our location in regards to that, the more inaccurate way, right? And if you combine the two, if you track your progress on azimuth and direction, and you use the terrain features around you to verify, we're roughly in that position, that should be right, then you're going to be the most effective, right? Sometimes only dead reckoning might work, though, right? If you're moving through the Selly forest, there's going to be very little terrain features that you can reference while you're moving through it. Questions? I know I'm rambling on for pretty badly here right now. If there are none, I would say we take a exact 4-minute bio break, and then everybody reports to the start point by teleporting with a flag to the starting point. You can already go there now. Or actually, no, let's stay here, and then when you get back, we go to the starting point. We'll just assemble here. So 4 minutes, is that cool with everybody?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
That is 49 my in-game time. I have 46 right now. 45 and a half. Perfect. I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette. Meantime, Green Demon and Verox are qualified to answer any questions.
How do we bring up the watch? Oh. Thanks.
Boring. Nope, he's not here. Alright, oh, Spaghetti moved. How do you get a return azimuth if you're below 180 degrees?
Add.
Good
When you
job.
do.
Correct answer.
So I get a quick.
What was the question? Like, can we repeat the question?
How do you get a return azimuth if you are below 180 degrees?
You add 180.
Yes, that is correct.
Is there another slide after this one? Tactical considerations behind it?
I believe not. But yeah, this is, I think this, yeah, this is the actually the last slide. Yeah, this is the last slide. First, we're just gonna do the it's gonna be a short test on what you've learned, and that's about it. Don't sweat it too much, it's pretty easy. It's just navigational stuff.
I have Green Demon.
Yes.
I had some problem with resection, but I have, because of those lines, I couldn't lines to start with.
Okay.
So I missed the initial spot by about 500 meters.
Alright, come over here for a second.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll freeze out one more time. I'm gonna turn you up on TeamSpeak so I can really hear you. What part are you at?
Well, I had troubles with the line of the dot.
With the... Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I fixed that because I didn't hit the Zumorc spot for less than 5 minutes.
okay, that's right. Okay, so what I'm gonna get you to do right now is guide me through the process of what you're doing to find it, and I'll correct you on that. I'll let you know which part you're messing up on.
Well, I will take a bear route and set the dam.
Okay.
Approximately 70.
Okay.
I would then make a what do you call it, a dot there,
Yeah.
and then I'll do back azimuth.
Okay. And since you're doing a back azimuth, you're adding by 100 because you're below 180 degrees, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So now you've done that.
Then
What's up, Barracks? Yeah, it's almost 4 minutes now. Let's give them 30 more seconds.
Yeah. You're doing it right.
Self-interact, unlock FTX. I gave you the password in chat. And if you don't know the password anymore, it's the thing we argued about. Small caps. Don't say it. Okay, stop swimming, gentlemen. Get back here. God damn it. Why is somebody in the lake? It's a violation of safety, gentlemen. I'll be held responsible if somebody drowns in the lake. Okay, can everybody go prone so we know everybody's here? This guy's definitely here. Rox is here. Awesome. Let's go to the flagpole and teleport to the starting point.
Click the float.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, so
Can
I
it-
got everything fixed so I can help out with the test.
Awesome. Can everybody, let me quick see that everybody's here. Did my monitoring turn off? What the fuck? Perfect. Can everybody check his gear quick and make sure you do not have any GPS or laser rangefinders anymore?
Nope.
Perfect.
Nope.
Okie dokie. So, the following FTX will put everything we learned, the core parts. So basically everything in terms of navigating yourself, orienting yourself, finding your own location, verifying your own location, planning a route, all that shit we'll put to practice. And it's kind of modeled after typical orienteering. I know if somebody has heard about orienteering, it's sport. And pretty much the military land navigation courses are very similar to this. So we will we'll give you we are basically here, we'll give you a first grid to travel to, and then you'll have to continue to travel from checkpoint to checkpoint until you reach a release point where you'll be able to teleport back here. What is important here is that if you are working in two-man teams, that you separate the work, but make sure that everybody does both at least once, so that you're able to do everything that is involved, right? So when you're working in two-man teams, have somebody be the compass man, have the other one take track of the pace count for the directing part, right? But then switch that around so that everybody has done both things. Sometimes don't have one guy lead the way and the other one just runs behind. Then you're doing it wrong. The other guy will not learn anything. And we will also track what you're doing, so please try to avoid that. Those that are working alone, that problem doesn't occur. So, We are here at the SP. Yeah, question?
What if we take turns doing both? Like, one person does everything for one, and then the next person does everything for
Yeah, you
the
can
next
do
one?
that. Just make
Alright.
sure that you're not the one that's just running through the thing, and the other guy just follows you and learns nothing, right? That would be waste of time for. So, we'll give you the first CP1 6-digit grid, and here important to understand. So I'll say this twice. The CP will be within the 6-digit grid, not necessarily in the center of the grid. So what you have to do is you navigate to the center of the grid, and then you establish a search pattern in the grid. Try to find the point, and when you're there, you conduct a resection if possible, or you somehow verify I am still within the grid. This has to be our CP1, because the CP1s on the various lanes are not marked as such. This is intentional. So if you, for example, end up on the wrong position, follow the wrong trail, we will know this later through our extremely well-developed methods. Yeah, so group 1, that's Zen and Firebird.
Yep.
Your grid, your first grid is 021031.
Copy.
Got it? Gaff, you're group 2, right?
Yeah.
Your grid is 021033. Got it?
Yep.
Burn rate, you're number 3, right? Group 3? Yep. Your grid is 022035. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Flying Spaghetti and Boner, you're group number 10, right?
Correct.
Your grid is 025037. Let me quickly have a read back here. Group 1, what's your grid?
021031.
Gaff, what's your grid?
021033.
I don't know. Who is, are you? Do you have a second guy in your group?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's me.
Who is this?
Demos.
Ah, okay. Burn rate, your grid?
022035. I also have Night Trips in my group. I don't know if you saw him.
Perfect.
I heard.
Okay, and Flying Spaghetti, you guys, this grid, just to verify?
025037.
Perfect. The only hint I will give is we are at the southwestern end of the map. If you move around a little, you should be able to find decent reference point to locate our starting position here. And then take your time. There's no time limit. Obviously, I'd like to conduct this within the course of the day, but take your time, practice the stuff. Plot your route, plot the azimuth and measure the distance, conduct the techniques that and methods we talked about, and make sure everybody in the team learns something here. If you have questions, just write in side chat. We will teleport to you and help you. We will not tell you you are here, you have to go here, but we will tell you how to get the information, right? How to do when you're lost in the process, we will help you through the process. Is there any final questions?
Will we all start here?
Yes. Basically, I will say start, and you are free to do whatever you want. I mean, not that, but, you know.
And is there any hint on the rough whereabouts where we are?
I say again, we're on the southern part of the map. If you go a little south here, you should be able to see the sea. And, yeah, try to look on the map around. I will say we are in the triangle of Kamenka, Green Mountain, Pavlovo, and Komarovo. Okay? It's actually not a triangle. Any final questions so far?
Can you mark that triangle or whatever on the map? Because I'm not that quick in finding the city names.
Okay, I'm sorry. I think I'll actually tell you, I could tell where the start one is, but...
You could give us a grid.
Yeah, I'll give you the
area.
6-digit grid, and then you should the 1 kilometer grid. 0203, right? You should have enough reference points here from here on to locate yourself accurately, just to practice that resection, practice locating yourself, plot that on the map, and that's your starting point. And if you reference here, there's some houses in that 1 kilometer grid. There's a Hilltop 154 that you should see from here. That should be already amble reference points.
Copy.
Any questions? Perfect. Verox, you know how to use the instructor panel, right?
Hey, been right.
Yeah.
Want to team up then?
Use the monitoring
Yeah.
function.
I'm just gonna run out of the street and see if I can pinpoint our spot.
Well, it's you already have some pretty good we have to see
Yeah, we're somewhere in 0203, so we have to go to 02
and that
037.
barn over there to the east.
Looking at this
quickly figure
the
out
road.
exactly where you are so we can plan out where to
Yeah.
go.
Right.
And he
So,
gave us grade
there's a barn right there
0203,
with the
so inside that square, so around the marker I just put down.
With the question mark.
No, the other one.
Building on a road.
Oh, at the start point. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just need to
So-
go some northwest, basically.
Yeah,
Or,
basically, yeah. And there, that's the MSR.
Oh.
To our southwest. You see?
Yeah.
yeah.
Like feedback for them, that'd obviously be awesome. Same thing for Barrow.
So what do we want to do? Follow the MSR?
Well, we can just. I guess we just head northwest, across the MSR, and go to that peak, and then kind of straight.
Yeah, so go to the peak and go directly to the point.
Yeah.
And see if we can find it. Yeah, sure. So
One thing I didn't say, please
Hold.
use the group chat to share the markers, obviously, so you don't interfere with the other groups. Somebody has already marked inside. Make sure you are not in group. That you are in group. Goddammit.
give me 2 seconds. I just wanna mark a line now. There. Do you see it?
Let me do the share map thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can figure out the
You see it now?
It's copying. Yeah, that's, yep. So, that looks good.
So, guessing around bearing 310 or something.
Yeah, I think it's just that little hill right there.
Yeah. So, let's see from the hill. I'll just get distance. So on the big scale, is it divided by 2?
Not sure. I think I did the little grid marker thing where I measured the grid, and I think a reverse azimuth would be 290. So if we just head 290 from here.
290? Yeah, sounds about right.
So I think that should bring us almost directly to it, or at least see it.
Well, I for that exact spot I've chosen,
yeah. Alright,
well, I wanted something with, you know, distance, but anyways. Let's try to go there. I completely agree with you. 290. Your crouch.
Let me just take a look at the terrain to see where it should be. Alright, yeah, I think we're just gonna have to go back up the hill a little bit over there.
I think.
Which grid are you guys going for right now?
022035.
Okay.
No, burn rate, I just put down, you know, about.
Do you see any boards in front of us? Because I see one to our left and one to our right.
Say again?
Do you see any boards in front of us? Because I see one to our left and one to our right.
I don't even see one of them. Oh, I see one. Well, that's why we have to, well, you just have to place them in the woods, didn't you?
Let's keep going forward a little more and see.
But we could, you know, try and see by the road. God,
What?
you're freaking me out, Birox.
If you
I'm literally just watching you.
if we keep heading 290, we'll hit the town, and that'll be just past our grid. So it'll be, you know, we won't be too far off. Well, I mean, it'll be kind of far away, but we'll at least know we're past it.
Well, we could play a point from the MSR to the town and do, what's it called? The resection.
Yeah.
From there we can place a marker exact on 022035. Do the whole, you know, meters per minute and then hit the exact spot. What do you say?
So keep going forward, or?
Well, yeah, until we get some decent landmarks.
Alright, sounds good.
Let's do it.
I see the church.
Do you see the MSR?
Yeah, the church is right there. coming out of the forest, so we passed it.
Well, that's a good thing. We can get some landmarks.
Here's a tip then, right? This is a perfect opportunity to use modified resection because you can see that church, right?
Yeah.
You don't, because you can like guess distances, like I'd say we're about 50 meters from the end of the tree line, you don't actually have to be on a known point like a road. So if you were to do modified resection to that church now and then add 50 from the tree line inside the forest, you'd work out roughly where you are. And that should give you a better idea of, you know, where to proceed from here.
Alright, let me see if I can... Hey Nitrips, can you copy my map, and then is that where you think we are?
I can see the hero marker.
Alright, is that, do you agree with that?
Give me 2 seconds. Yeah, exactly. Exact point.
Can you guys do a favour and just mark that on global where you think you are, just for a second? So I can see where
you're gonna do it, Ben?
How do you switch to mark the map for global?
I'll do it. I'll do it. See
Okay.
Mark Verox here?
Yep. Okay.
It looks like if we head 109, we should just go right to it.
Well, yeah.
We need a distance though.
Yeah, I'm finding that out now.
You guys are going for grid 022035, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
God, I hate the compass.
You need to check where you've marked your first checkpoint in that case. Just check it again, like, make sure you've got the grid right. Sorry, the grid is right, make sure you've marked the grid in the right place.
Well, I did. I just, you know.
I'd say it's about a little over 100 meters at 110, but can't measure the distance too well.
Ben?
Yeah?
I want to play some... I actually want to place it right there, on target 2. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I want to place it. I'll have yours on 022036.
Yeah, I think you're right. It is there. It is where you put it. It's better.
No, wait, I paused it up again. You're right, sorry. I was looking on the wrong scale.
Yeah, so that's 0.22035. So I think if we just head 110, about 100 meters, 20 seconds running.
120.
Could you guys mark where you've put that as well?
The what?
The target.
Could you guys mark where you've just marked the target as well?
I'm on it.
Okay, hold on.
I guess we should bound it because it could be, you know, with anywhere in that box.
I absolutely hate the map markers. Burn rate, when you measure it, what do you measure it to with the map tools?
I just kind of I use my finger and the little scale thing in the corner.
I'll get it to 500 meters. That's completely insane, that's not true. Verox? Did he leave? God damn it, Verox!
So I put 4 markers there, and it says they all say in this box somewhere, and like target and something, and it's gonna be in there somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I agree completely, but the distance from where we are to where we're going, when I use the map marker.
I got about 150 meters, I think. So we should just head straight east 150 meters, and I'm pretty sure we'll hit it.
Well,
or be able to see it.
If I can figure out this map marker, you know, the big compass one. I can't remember if we divide by 2 or what we do. Yeah.
How do I change what channel I mark in? I don't even know what channel I'm marking in.
Oh god, don't ask me, I have Scandinavian keyboard. Do you know how to
He's swimming.
you have some buttons beside him. Verox, can you help him?
1 second. I've just got to fix my own shit. Right, what do you need help on?
How do I change what group I'm marking in?
It's your chat channel.
Oh, okay. I'm in group channel, so whatever.
Oh, way cool. Verox?
Yes.
On the map marker, the one with the compass on. The big 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 and so on.
Yes.
You divide by 2, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Burn rate, 1 minute. What was it?
100 meters. Walking, or we could jog for 30 seconds.
Yeah,
for 150 meters.
Yeah, bearing 110, 120. Ish. Jogging.
My guy won't jog.
Halt. We should have a sign right here.
that one to the north of us, because it's inside our box. Because, you know, I placed the 4 because it can be anywhere inside the 100-meter grid square. So it's got to be north and east of this corner, because our target corner was the southwest corner possible.
I'm not entirely sure on this, man.
Well, you know, like so for our grid is in 022, so it means it has to be somewhere between 022 and 023.
Yeah, that's true.
And then it's somewhere also between 0
yeah, yeah.
So.
Yeah. My bad, man. Well, I'll just write this down.
Looks like we're pretty much in the center of the grid.
Don't forget to confirm this is the grid with resection.
Say again, Verox.
Don't forget to confirm this is the grid with resection. Rather than just going, yeah, it looks about right, actually confirm it. And there's a few different ways you could do it right now. If you want, I'll tell you. Or you can try and work it out yourself.
To be honest, I don't see much I can do it with, so unless you have something, Ben, right?
I would just topographically, you know, you can kind of see.
Wait. Isn't that just part of the town you can see there? The church.
That's one way of doing it, night trips, but burn rate probably had the easiest way. Just the simple lay of the land. You can see if you open your map that this is a slight valley. And if you look to our south now, you can see where the valley starts going down steeper. So you just kind of take a bearing to the very centre of that valley, which is around about 200. Say,
oh, yeah.
195, and then use your map tools to just draw a straight line down that. Then there is the hill to your southeast. But you can also use some of the buildings as well in the town. In this case, you don't have to be drawing all the lines on the map. You just have to, you know, like get a rough idea of are you in the right spot.
Yeah.
You guys are doing it anyway, which is good, but it's always better if you've got more than one person to have them do the resection independently. That way, if your results don't match, then someone's gone wrong somewhere, and you can resolve that. Especially in a training environment.
Yeah, there's no time rush here, right? So unlike in the operation where your platoon leader needs to have you there at a certain time, you can take. I mean, we all want to get finished by tomorrow at latest, right?
I mean, it looks good to me. I resected to the hill we started on, and then to the valley. So did you get some other ones in the town?
Yeah, I did on the town, on the valley. And it looks right.
Is there a button to just clear the map?
Sadly not.
I think there was. Is it not?
There is, I've never found it.
thought there was something, but I'm not sure.
Well, Bunray, you want to go for next CP?
Yeah, I think it looks like bearing 325, and judging by my finger measurements, I'm going to say about 900 meters, so that's 3 minutes jogging.
Yeah, sounds right. Give me a sec. Yeah, 950 or something.
Is there a key that prevents you from running?
Double tap shift.
Oh, very good.
Well, wanna jog it out?
Sounds good. Ready?
Well, I'm just waiting for it to hit precise 12. Or you. Yeah, let's go.
Here's a fun fact for you. In real life, people have a tendency to move in slightly one direction when they're running in straight lines. So you've ever heard of the term walking in circles in the desert? It's because people literally walk in circles if they've got nothing to reference on. You'll just ever so slightly turn to one, I think it's the left.
Yep.
The more you know. And I believe that's because one leg is slightly shorter than the other, so your gait naturally turns you. The only reason you don't end up bumping into people in the street like every single day is because you've got straight lines to walk along. Your body automatically corrects it. The more you know. That also coincidentally is why this navigation method isn't particularly the best in real life. Because you will end up walking in circles, especially in the forest at night.
Well, and if you happen to have a compass, you just look at mark an object in front of you, something like 100 meters away, then you walk to that, and then mark another object, and then walk to that.
Yeah. That is the bit that actually got caught, like that particular navigation method was in the line nav course, but it's not particularly useful in ArmA.
Yeah.
People walk in perfect straight lines, so why teach it?
Should be really close.
Well, yeah.
Oh, there's a board.
Yep. 3 minutes straight.
It was a little slow, I ran into a bush.
Yeah.
So I guess that's ours.
It could be, let's...
Will it have the ID? Will it have the ID letter on it? Maybe? Oh, I guess we just record which ones we went to.
That this is actually the copse of trees that we're in. We are in.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Just to be sure. you're talking about this one.
Yeah. You can tell that we're not in the trees further off to the west because there's no gap there between those trees, the main body of trees to our south and the main body of trees to our west. Whereas there is a gap between this body of trees and the body of trees to our south.
I got really good with topo and no compass in DayZ. That was fun stuff.
Surprisingly, navigation is actually easier in real life. Half because there's no view distance limit, half because there's a lot more stuff to look at, and half because the maps are better. They mark more stuff.
Night troops! Yo. Night trips?
Yep. What's up?
Should we I'm gonna sit by this the billboard, try to resect here. So I mean our map is pretty good already to kind of confirm.
Yeah.
I don't really see many mountain tops or anything that aren't too far away.
Behind those trees.
I don't see it.
Almost directly east, behind some trees.
Well, I see a road, so...
Road also works, you can use modified resection on that.
And the little fences and stuff show up on the map too, so this is, you know, I'm convinced we got fences, buildings, roads,
oh, shit,
tree patterns and everything.
1/3 of that. I'll see around that.
When you guys satisfied that this is where you are, tell me.
I'm satisfied that I'm in the right spot.
I am satisfied of it, but I want to make at least one of these. So I'm sorry for the wait.
No problem.
It's fine.
Take your time.
There is no time limit.
You see the marker, Benry?
No, I don't see where you...
It's around top left.
Alright.
It's almost inside top left.
Yeah, I see it. How do I delete a marker that I put down?
That's you, Lyrax. I have Scandinavian.
A line marker.
No, just like a text, like the circle with the X with
Oh,
text.
just hover over it and press delete.
Oh, very easy.
Night Chips, have you played much DayZ?
No. I played it for roughly 2 hours.
Okay.
I spent a lot of time as a newspawn. Oh, burn rate, you already played some Marcus.
Yeah, I think... Is that right? I think it's about right.
That's about right.
Put it on global for me.
It's DC where the wires go over the MSR, just southwest of Selenogorsk.
Yeah, I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Around there.
New directive from me. Give me your compasses.
Sure. You want it on your person or on the ground?
No, just drop on the ground.
Oh, okay, sure.
I'll pick them up and carry them.
Not sure how I feel about that.
We can just use our watches in the sun.
Moss.
It's perfectly possible to navigate without compasses. I will tell you which way direction is north, because it's not usually very obvious, but that way is north.
Yeah, towards the trees, yeah. Like that way.
Yes.
So I'm going to propose a simple solution to this, is we just get on that road and follow it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stick to the trees, of course. Let's just stick
Tactical.
to the tree lines.
That you guys have pretty much got both ways of doing it there, yeah.
We do the tactical way in this.
Do you guys want it to be hard or easy?
Or you spawn someone to shoot at us? You have to give us ammo first.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna spawn things to shoot at you. But do you want it to be hard or easy?
I'll take a challenge.
Pick one, or I'm gonna make it very hard. Okay. Challenge it is. In that case, you're not allowed to use the road. You can be within sight of the road, but pretend you're operating tactically.
But right, do you see my markers? We follow just this tree line, you know, with the broken trees.
To CP1, CP2, and then
Yeah.
over. Alright, that sounds good to me. That's pretty easy. That finger of trees that comes down. Alright.
Yep, let's go. And this should be the thin point, right? Yeah, this is CP1.
Yeah.
Or, rather, this is, yeah.
Our sub CP1.
Yeah, sub CP. We need to stop calling places CP. They are crouching. Let's take a knee right here.
So we can see that compound north of us, and I guess we just gotta head east to our little grid square.
Do you see those fences up there?
Yeah.
Well, there should be one, a short one directing down, directed towards our CP points.
Alright.
Yep, here's the angle.
Cool.
And if we just follow this line directly here, we should go directly there. Unless
that was very resourceful. I never would have thought of that. Hold on.
Well, whatever works, man.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, there is a purple.
Hey, Night Trips, can you set your voice thing on shout?
Yep.
Cool.
You know what? I'm pretty sure this is it.
Yeah? It's pretty open, so there's nothing else in sight.
And it's just by the MSR. As it should be.
I'll do a resection and check it out.
No, you won't.
You can do approximate resection. Like, you know where the
power lines are?
Power lines are, you know where the MSR is, and you know where that compound is over to your...
west.
Yeah. So you can do like approximate resection and you can get it-ish.
Well, this is it.
So the next one's pretty close, huh?
Yeah, just north of us.
Okay.
Northwest.
Have a look at the map and have a look where you've placed where your marker is.
Yeah.
Now jot your maps.
Huh?
Navigation on memory. I suggest you very quickly burn into your mind the relation where the power lines are, where that compound to your northwest is, where the MSR is, and where the objective is. Burn that into your memory, and then try and navigate off those items without your map. Now this is a challenge.
Oh, let's go.
Just want to follow the power lines till the compound and then kind of branch off from there.
Yeah.
Because we do have missions where only the section leader will have a map and he will often die. He'll just be left without no map.
Oh, I haven't seen a lot of those lately.
Is it this one?
Well, yeah, it's a little bit
yeah, that's
one
the
side of the transformer station. So,
yeah, the road's right there. Okay, yeah. I thought it would be further up, but no.
Okay, did you guys write down the letters?
Yes.
What does it spell?
Yep. Tank.
Tank.
Yes! That means you got it right. Congratulations, and you guys perhaps had the hardest course out of every team because I'm a hard ass. So congratulations, you did very well.
Thank you.
You can go ahead and teleport back to the main area now where Zumorc should hopefully be waiting, not invisible. If he's not, shout him and he will become visible. Zumorc.
Zumorc.
I know you're around here, I can see you on the map. Oh, no, he's not actually around here, he's up here.
Ah, sorry. You guys are finished?
Oh,
yeah,
Jesus,
they're
are you
finished.
invisible again?
They got it right, they got the right keyword.
Awesome. Do you already give them some feedback, Verox? Because I obviously didn't follow them a lot, but they seemed fairly on the thing.
I've not given them critical feedback, however I have praised them because I took the compasses off them at CP2 and took the maps off them at CP3.
What?
And they did
the
well.
Maps?
They did very well.
Why would you do that?
Navigation by memory, just burning points into your points of interest into your memory.
Fair enough, but it's not really the point. Anyway, so you guys got the what word?
Tank.
Perfect. Yeah, so obviously Verox was doing his usual weird experience, but I think you guys got the basic idea here, right? So to navigate from point to point, using a given direction, using the distance, tracking your distance, verifying once you get to the point, you know, in other words, train the self-locating again to verify. Is there any like fundamental questions, criticism, concerns?
No, I think I got most of it really,
That was good. Covered everything, I think.
So really the idea is just that you get this first intro into the basic navigation techniques. You know, first, of course, understand the map, understand the equipment, how to use the equipment, understand the fundamental navigation techniques, understand the navigation methods that are involved when moving down a planned route, so that you can build on top of that, right? Go into the game, be able to navigate in the Sally Forest without getting completely lost, and then further build on those skills. And at the same time, you also got a little intro into precision navigation equipment, stuff like polar coordinates, so that when you start to work with FO stuff that you have already, the basic stuff, so we don't have to go over that again. So if there's nothing else, you got your tags, you're free to leave, but you're also free to stay around if you want to. Much appreciated your patience, and I hope you took at least something with.
Cool, thanks very much.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Looks like Green Demon's group's about to finish.
Did they, before you pulled the compass map, though, there was enough, like, you know, the primary thing in terms of navigating from point to point?
Oh, yeah.
Doing the pace count?
Yeah, we did a bunch of resection, and we
Perfect.
missed the first one and navigated back from a town and stuff, so.
Yeah, the first bit was a bit rocky, but I think that's because you were placing your map tools at the point, like the bottom point of the mark.
Yeah.
You're placing your map tools at a slightly wrong position, but that's fine because map tools are broken.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah,
were
it's already
actually
pain in the
like,
ass enough
walking
to leave
directly
them right now.
between CP1 and CP Red, which is another team's. That was the
Yeah,
one
keep
to
in
the
mind.
south, like so.
Keep in mind that the thing you have on the map, Varrox, is actual position of the signs, right? Not the grid that it says on them, right? That's kind of confusing.
It was fairly confusing for yellow and red at the beginning because they're within like 100 meters, 200 meters of each other.
So was red and blue. Red team, the guys were actually first on blue sign, and then they realized that both teams can't be on the same thing. So
yeah.
Hey Zumorc, do you mind if I go back to Site 2 and steal the vehicle?
No, I can also spawn a vehicle. What are you trying to do?
Just drive around.
Well, if you're not.
And have a look with
Yeah, but if I mean, is that necessary? As long as you don't do it in the training area, that's fine with me. If you do it in the eastern part of the map, northern part of the map, northwestern part of the map. I don't know if the vehicle's movable, but we can.
Oh, you want to practice what's the plan?
You could also do another lane if you're bored, right? That would be more.
I don't know. I just wanted to drive around in the woods and hit a tree. I don't have my compass anymore, though.
Or map, for that's like.
Yeah. He's gone!
God damn it, Varrox.
If you teleport back to camp, there's a crate with compasses and map tools. Feel free to drive around, but don't do it in the southwestern part of the map.
Alright, I won't hit anyone.
Don't do it in the southwestern part of the map.
Cool.
There's a broken crate, anyways.
Oh, I have to lay down.
Oh.
Ooh, radios, nice.
Well, I need to write a book about this, so I won't forget.
Yeah, I took some notes.
Yeah, same here.
Cool. Alright, that was fun. See you later, man. On the battlefield.
On the battlefield.